Alright, if you don't know who I am, I'm Ben, and this is the DIY Homefront. And on the channel today, we're going to try to recycle a pair of jumper cables. Now, I don't use these jumper cables very often, usually just to jump off one of the lawnmowers. And I don't really feel like spending the money to replace them either. But I also don't want to not have some jumper cables. They are handy to have when you're in a pinch, and hard to do without. So let's see if we can't get something figured out and get these jumper cables recycled. Alright, well here's our jumper cables, and they're pretty old, and at the time they were really good. They're a thick gauge wire, and they were protected by a pretty good coat of rubber. But over time, that coating has gotten brittle, and it's just poor. Every time I use these jumper cables, I'm always worried that I'm going to arc them out on a piece of metal on either the car or the lawnmower. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this old electrical cord and I'm going to use this as my wire. Alright guys, well you've seen what the game plan is. Only thing to do is to watch the video and see how it turns out. Well, one thing we've got to do is we have got to get these out. And I'm talking about the electrical cable. And I think the only way to do that is to drill out the little rivet that holds it in place. And I don't know how hard that's going to be, but I'm hoping it won't be too hard. Well, each one of these cables have two copper clips that grab onto the battery post. And one is connected to the cable and one is just there for gripping power. And if I can figure out how to remove one, then that means I can remove the rest. I think that has got it. Well, I am pretty sure I've got the rivet ground down enough that it should come out. I just need to find the proper tool that's going to do that for me. Alright, the rivet's out. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to get the cable past this clamp spring. Well, it took a few tries with a screwdriver to get the spring to move, but eventually I figured out where to put the spring so that way it would be out of the way, and then I could use a large pair of pliers and grab a hold of that tooth and pull the tooth and the cable out. Now the only downside of this is these clamps are covered with a plastic coating, and the more you pull and tug and twist, the more that plastic coating that comes off. There we go. I'm going to need to repeat this on all of them. I wonder if I've got something I can put on this to keep those from being hot. That's one thing that was nice about them. Well, the tooth and the clamp are riveted together, so that means that the whole clamp becomes energized, and that plastic coating probably was there to help keep that from being arced on anything else other than the battery. I'm going to have to paint or do something with these clamps once all this plastic coating is off to make sure that they're not positive and don't arc on anything when I'm trying to jump something off. Well, a few minutes later, and I've got all of the teeth out of the clamps, and we're ready to go on to the next step. Well, the next step took a lot longer than I wanted it to. There was a lot of surface rust on the clamps, and where there was surface rust, that plastic coating just flaked off. But there was quite a few spots that I really had to scrape and tug and pry to try to get that coating off, but eventually I did. Here you can see how rusty they are. And after a few minutes with the wire wheel, they really do clean up quite nicely. But I still had to go back and pick off the last of the plastic coating even after the wire wheel. Well, here's a pro tip for you. Try using this glass cleaner when you know you're going to be painting something. You can spray it on the surfaces and clean stuff up, and then you can go back and wipe it off and paint right over the top of it. So on the negative terminals, they were in a lot better shape than the positive terminals. I don't know if it's a different kind of plastic that they're dipped in, but for whatever reason, they seem to be in a lot better shape. So all I had to do was take my glass cleaner and a scrub brush and clean them all up really good, and they were ready for a good coat of paint. And the other thing that's good about the negative terminals is if they do contact anything, in theory, they represent the ground. So there's no harm if there's any part of that clamp that touches any metal, because all it's doing is creating a ground. Well, with all four of the clamps done, it was time to turn my attention to those teeth that were riveted to the ends. First, I ended up prying back the copper so I could remove the cable, and then I did the same thing again. I took that wire wheel and I cleaned those off the best I could. So that means I've got the 4 clamps cleaned up and ready to paint, and I have got the 8 teeth ready to rivet back onto them once they're painted. Well, the negative battery terminals on the cable will end up getting a couple of coats of black paint, and I'll end up using orange for the positive terminals. Alright, so here is coat 1 for the negative terminals. The wire wheel did a pretty good job, but I still wasn't quite happy, so I chose to end up going back with some sandpaper and going over those positive terminals with the sandpaper. I really want to make sure that paint sticks well. One final clean with that ammonia glass cleaner and a scrub brush. Now when you spray paint things, you're going to want to make sure you shake the can well. You can never over mix paint, but you sure can't under mix it. Now I don't have enough orange paint to put multiple coats on these clamps, so I'm going to put a couple of coats of white paint on, and then we'll go over the top with orange. Now we need to make sure this dries for 15 to 20 minutes, but no more than 2 hours before we put on our next coat. Okay, this paint's been drying for about 20 minutes and it's dry to the touch, which means it's time for that second coat. Once again, I'll shake up the can for a few minutes to make sure it's well mixed. Alright, now we've got 2 coats of black paint on the negative terminals. Alright, I've got about 40 feet of an old extension cord, and I'll take these 2 ends and line them up. And then I'll work my way to the other end and I'll cut them in half, and I should end up with 2 equal length pieces of this extension cord. These are going to end up being the positive and negative cables for our jumper cables. Well, this extension cord is a 10-3 extension cord, meaning it's got 3 10-gauge wires inside, a ground, a hot, and a negative. And I could probably just use 1 extension cord, but I'm going to end up taking all 3 of those wires and putting them together and basically making each extension cord the positive and negative for the jumper cables. Well, a lot of extension cords, to include this one, will have some kind of fiberglass cord on the inside. It's to provide strength to the extension cord, so that way the copper wires aren't holding it together when it's pulled aggressively from each end. Well, with the fiber cord removed, I will go ahead and take off the wire shielding from the 3 wires inside of the extension cord. Now I'm going to end up with about 2 inches of copper wire when this is all said and done. And that should be perfect to go ahead and tie into those teeth that will end up getting riveted into the clamp. Well, you wouldn't think it, but it took about 15 minutes to do that. But now I have got 1 cable ready to attach to those teeth for the clamps. I mentioned before I didn't have enough orange paint to paint these multiple times, but there's nothing wrong with using whatever paint you got on hand, as long as it's from the same company and the same type, like enamel, oil base, or latex. And this will be the 3rd and final coat of black paint on these negative terminal battery clamps. Alright, well, I have stripped back that other extension cord. 15 minutes has gone by, and now it's time to put the final coat of paint on these positive terminals with this nice color of bright orange. Well, this is the only place in this project I made a mistake. Because that paint had to dry so long and I was trying to keep the project moving along, I decided to go ahead and take the cables and attach them to those teeth that get riveted into the clamp. But that was a bad decision. You'll see a little bit later on. But to start with, I'm going to take these relatively soft copper teeth and pry back the tabs that held the previous cable in place. I'll need to do that so I can put the new cable in and bend these tabs back. So 2 of the tabs will actually bend down and crimp over the copper wire, and the other 2 tabs will bend over and grab onto the extension cord. These channel lock pliers did a decent job of bending over the tabs onto the wire and the extension cord, but just to make sure I had a really good grip, I went back with a hammer and a large screwdriver and tapped the tabs all the way over, and you can see right here, they are very secure and they have got a good connection with that copper wire. Alright, well, this is what we've got. It's been a couple days since I got these painted, and the first thing I'm going to do is mount these to the inside, and I have a bunch of rivets, and I believe this is going to be the rivet I want to use right here. Well, just pay attention to how nice the paint job is on these clamps, and we'll see how they look at the end. Alright, so that one end of the rivet goes into the hole, which leaves a long piece of metal sticking out the other end. And you'll end up sliding the tool over that piece of metal sticking out, and you'll squeeze it and it'll bulge the base of the rivet until that piece of metal snaps off. And what you're left with is a really secure connection. Alright, that is in there. The hard part of using the rivets here was the fact that I'm trying to squeeze a clamp and squeeze the riveting tool at the same time, and it just was difficult. Now, if you're going to purchase rivets, I would recommend that you just go online and buy a box full as opposed to going to the hardware store and buying one or two. And the reason why I say that is because you're going to spend about the same amount for 15 rivets at the hardware store as you would for a whole box of assorted rivets online. I don't remember where I got the riveting tool. It must have been a hand-me-down from somebody else's garage. And the rivets I already had from another project. So I guess now it's time to show you where I made a mistake. It's difficult to move the spring out of the way and hold it out of the way with a screwdriver, just like it was when I was disassembling them. But since I actually have that tooth attached to the end of that extension cord, now I'm really struggling trying to feed this up through there, because the tooth is getting in the way. When I disassembled them, I actually ended up just grabbing the tooth and pulling it from the front. But there's no way to do that. I've got to feed it from the handle portion of this clamp up, and it's difficult. I should have put the tooth on after I had the cables inserted through that spring. I often think or joke to myself that I need to do every project twice. Once to learn how to do it, and then the next time to do it right the way I would want it to be forever and ever. And if you're creative and you're doing stuff all the time, you may learn a lot of tricks to doing things better, but most of the times you'll learn the secrets to doing things when you're actually doing it. And if you're doing a one-time project like this, by the time you get to the end and know how to do it, that moment has already come and gone, and you're just left with the project the way it is. Unfortunately, the way this project is turning out is I spent a lot of time spray painting these clamps, and now I'm taking a screwdriver and pliers and I'm nicking a bunch of that paint off, which is a little discouraging. Well, there it is. We have got the teeth inside of these clamps, and it's time to keep the project moving. My next task was to take the individual negative and positive jumper cable and zip tie the two together. I did that by first putting a mark every 6 inches all the way down the jumper cables. Then I zip tied the cables together at each one of those 6-inch marks. The final step was cutting the excess zip ties off. Well, there you go, a set of jumper cables. Was it worth it? I don't know. It took quite a bit of time, but it didn't cost me anything because I already had all the stuff I used. The other ones were probably 10 or 12 years old, who knows. They might have even been a hand-me-down from somebody else. But if these sit on a shelf for 10 or 15 years and get used 5 times, well then I guess it was really worth it, wasn't it? Because it saved me from having to go out and buy some new ones. And after they sit on a shelf for 5 years, they're old anyway, aren't they? Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in that next video. I don't know what it'll be.